What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Devil's Customs and Creatures. Today we are working on a post-apocalyptic project for the 4th annual Winter in the Wastelands Tip of the Spear, brought to you by Jim Silva and Silva's Diecast Customs. Decided to go with a front loader here, and I had different ideas for this build out of the gate, which I did not continue with. So that kind of left me in a little bit of a crunch because now I just had this front loader, and that obviously wasn't going to be enough for the post-apocalyptic world. So I went ahead and dug through the castings that I had to try to find something to match up to this. And what I came up with was this giant garbage truck. And I'll have to admit, at first glance, I thought this was way out of scale. But then I started thinking about it. I have seen some pretty large front loaders out there that wouldn't look too out of place on top of a garbage truck. And after all, it's the post-apocalyptic world, and anything goes. Now, with any post-apocalyptic or Gaslands build, my first step is always to mesh out the windows in the vehicle, because obviously glass is not going to work, and the front loader had no windows as it was. And I don't like to board them up either, because you do need, have some vision out there on the field, and to have all those sealed up would really limit your visibility. So I went ahead and grabbed some of this mesh from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut it up with scissors and get it to fit inside. As you can see here, I left the back window open because I wanted to make a hatch for access to the cab. So out come the styrene bits, because I never throw anything out. Basically find a piece that'll fit up to that back window so I can go ahead and put a hatch on it. It's not going to be a functioning hatch, but just something to give it a visual of an entrance and exit point. I thought this piece of guitar wire would make a good looking hinge for the top. So I went ahead and cut it to size, of course dropped it first, and then I just went and glued it into place. Because I was going to move the front end loader bucket towards the front of the casting, I had this gap here where the existing hinges were. So I just went ahead and grabbed some brass tubing, and we're just going to make an exhaust coming out both sides. Why I chose brass tubing is because it's easy to bend and it holds its shape well. Now this part was a bit tricky because I didn't want to glue on the front loader just yet, but I needed to get a good idea of where the scoop was going to be. So I figured I'd put it right there on the front, and I also wanted to cover the gap between there, so I just grabbed this piece of styrene tubing, went ahead and marked it off, cut it to size, and that made a nice little pivot point for the scoop to still work and also to cover that gap. Once I got that scoop secured, I went ahead and glued the front loader to the top of the garbage truck, and I also extended the exhaust pipes for the garbage truck up into the sides of the front loader. Because this build-off was titled Tip of the Spear, I knew I had to have some spear-like features or spikes on the front of this as well. So I came up with these styrene pieces that kind of mimic what would be on a regular garbage truck to lift up the dumpsters, and added those to both sides of the garbage truck. I know I wanted to put some armor over the wheels, but these wheels sat a little bit outside of the casting. So I just grabbed some styrene rod here and got enough of a space out that I could get the armor flaps on there and not get in the way of the rolling wheels. And here it is with all the physical stuff built on it. I threw some 3D printed parts on there just to kind of beef it out. Of course, I needed a skull for a Wastelands build. And threw some weapons on there, like the flamethrower on the side and I guess maybe a plasma cannon on top. Not really sure what that is. Threw some tire rims on the back just to close that up, and then it was off to primer. Here I just wanted to show the differences between when I start the weathering and with just the primer. As you can see from this side, it's mostly the white primer, and as we come around here, it shows where I started adding all the chipping effects with this Viejo model color rusting kit. It definitely gives it more realistic look, as you can see here once all the chipping is done, and it gives you a great base to start your actual rusting and weathering. I was recently provided with a sample kit from Duncan Rhodes Too Thin Coats paint, and I gotta say I really like the pigments in this and the ease of use. Each bottle has a little bulb in it, so it mixes very well, and it's been very fun to use. I really look forward to using all the other colors they sent, and I'm very happy with the rusting and weathering paints they sent as well. And if you remember, this is what we started with: a Matchbox shovel nose tractor, or as I call it, a front loader, along with a random garbage truck from the fodder bin. And this is what I came up with. And here it is, folks, what I'm calling the Winter Mastodon. This vehicle basically is the front and the tip of the spear for the Mastodon tribe as they go along the wastelands trying to find resources. This is their gate crasher and also their assault vehicle. And as you can see by the sheer strength and size of it, not much gets by this. Had a super lot of fun with this one, as I always do. I'd like to thank Jim Silva for hosting this yet again. Please make sure you check out any other participants, and please stick around for the glamour shots. Until the next one, be well.